That's no moon. It's a space station.
Hey guys, welcome back to the show. I'm actually in Sedona at Tony Rodrigues' place with his amazing obelisk technology. We're just here hanging out, stopping by, saying hey before we head out to Egypt tomorrow, which he bailed on.
I'm talking a Return of the Guardians for Team Light during the same time that you'll be in Egypt.
Yeah, but you were originally supposed to go, right? Yeah.
I was bought into Egypt, and we moved to Sedona, and a lot of opportunities popped up, so
Sure.
we bailed it.
No, I get it.
Hope you guys go next year. We'll join.
Yeah, no, we're excited to go. And what else? Oh, you are oh my God, I just forgot what I was going to ask you next. What were we just?
Well, the list is tragic.
Right. No, so how has Sedona been for you?
So I thought that it would be a different experience. I really didn't know what I thought. I really didn't know what to expect moving here, other than all my travels in my life. When I came to Sedona, well, it's 2 years ago now. I came here to do a conference. I was here for 4 days, and I thought this is the only place I really would care to live, other than Hawaii, where I'd lived for already.
Right.
And so I didn't know what to expect. We moved here, and it's been nonstop. So just being here, there's a vibe here. I don't know how to explain it. I don't want to be cliche or woo about it. There is definitely a vibe here that is unlike anywhere else, even in Arizona, when you go just a few miles down the road, for one. And for two, because of what I do, I teach remote viewing, and I'm an SSP witness. And among other things, I can be myself here. Like at the grocery store, I get recognized. People ask me what I do. I go, I teach remote viewing. I'm here working in conjunction with Humankind Center, humankind.org, I think it is. And we're starting the Odyssey conference that you helped us out with last year. It's turned into a show. So it'll be every other week, like a bi-weekly show that'll go on Humankind. It's one of those things that because John, who is a partner of mine, we worked on Odyssey together, and he's been helping me with Maple Street Learning. He's a software guy, and Arrow Blocks, we partnered together. So it made sense to come to Sedona for that. But he started the Humankind Center and got the venue. It's really sharp.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyhow, that's it. So since I've been here, I haven't had a minute. I really haven't had a minute. I've been working nonstop doing stuff.
We're going to get into some of that.
Wonderful.
But ironically enough, I've been like waiting for winter to end in St. Louis. I've been waiting to come to Sedona to get out of the cold, and it's literally snowing outside right now.
You brought it with you.
I brought the snow. Yeah, it's pretty wild though. I mean, it's kind of cool. I've never seen snow in Sedona, so I don't even know how rare that is. But
they say it does it all the time. It hasn't been a lot this year, and I don't expect it to stay. It won't stay.
So yeah, that's what I was going to say earlier. You're not. This is going to be the first year you won't be joining us at Rebels of Disclosure.
Sadly.
Yeah, and it's kind of not going to be the same without you.
It will though.
Right.
You know what though? I still think that among all the conferences, you have a very unique niche in the audience and the people that are behind you. And your conference is one of the ones that doesn't really struggle. Mm-hmm. And I don't think it will. I think if anything, you could make it bigger.
Right.
And I was bummed that we were talking about it. I think when we went to Ridgecrest.
Yeah.
You were like, man, Tony, you've been there 3 years already, and I wasn't going to be back last year.
Right.
But I broke into we did Ridgecrest, and we found a lot of info that was, I think was important about my testimony, which is important about a lot of other testimonies. For one, but for two, you have so many people that are good that can step up. So to get out of the way. Other conferences are the same way. The ones that I do every year, it's like you have to make room for people that are bringing new information.
Yeah.
And I'm always here. That's why I'm doing these. So one day maybe I'll be the vendor there.
Yeah.
I was going to come. I always told you that, like, no matter what, if I'm invited to speak, I still want to come. But there is the UK GSIC, the Galactic Spiritual Informers Conference, is going to be in the UK during the same week.
Right.
So the beginning of May.
It's actually right before it leads up to it. So it doesn't overlap, but it's the same. You're going anyway. Yeah.
It's the same trip. So otherwise I would have been there, and we'll see how next year pans out. I will definitely pop in and just be hanging out around the bonfire.
Right. Maybe we'll talk you into making a surprise Zoom appearance or something. Say hi to the audience.
Twist my arm. Yeah.
Right. Okay, so let's talk about, like, I know what you've been up to lately. We do the secret space program stuff. We always talk about it, and it's great and fascinating. But because of that research and that trip to Inyo, it kind of sent you down this rabbit hole of the remote viewing and your research as far as that, which resulted in a book. And now you're developing these obelisks and these technologies. And I know it's all tied in. So maybe you can take us from Inyo to like how you got here and what it's like for you now.
So and thank you for what you did, because it was huge. For you to come and film and be a witness to me going back to one of the places in a 20 and back, I mean, was epic. There wasn't a lot of people that had really the guts to do that. We were in the belly of the beast, really. And when we were there, it was a lot of evidence. And I mean, not where I could just go out and prove everything, but to me personally, we found the buildings, and it was like exactly how I remembered it. And I went back and really researched it and started on my third book, Beyond Sight. And in that, I started looking at psychoenergetic, like really advanced remote viewing. So really advanced, not remote viewing. That's the wrong word. Psychoenergetics.
Right.
So that's really what we're talking about in the military family of what's going on. And they're still at it, believe me. But I started uncovering documents, hundreds of pages, thousands of pages of documents that were declassified about psychoenergetics, and they made sense to me because I was in that program. And that led me to the science of psychoenergetic monuments, psychoenergetic peripherals, electromagnetic fields, Faraday fields. There are certain supplements, there's herbs, there's dopamine inhibitors. There's a lot of things that they do to make psychoenergetic. And the next levels of what they do, where they can influence people, they can influence the target, they can move things in the target, change the temperature, change the perception of time on the target. So there were all these things that I started experimenting with.
Right.
I went to Dan Winter. You've had him on the show.
No, we actually didn't. But
oh, no kidding, really?
Well, we need to set that up. Yeah.
Dan is a eccentric, brilliant man.
Sure.
And he's done a lot of great. He's still doing it. But plankfire.com. My rubbing elbows between him and Dan Willis and all my other friends and learning science. Dan would always talk in the big language of the phase conjugate pump wave. And I said, nobody understands what you're talking about, Dan.
Right.
Nobody gets it. Can you dumb it down for us? And he just can't. He's advanced.
Right.
And so I said, well, teach me how it works, and I want to dumb it down. And I got him into virtual reality and made a 3D hydrogen molecule, or the star mother molecule. I made a giant in a three-dimensional space. I made a molecule, and I brought Dan, and he's in France, he's in Europe, and I sent him virtual reality headset, and I got him in there, taught him how to do it. We're both standing in there with this big, and I said, now show me what a phase conjugate pump wave is. Show me what charge collapse does.
Right.
And so I can see it in layman's terms in 3D, not just hear about it. And he did. And I went, holy mother of God.
Right.
That is literally how everything works. Like everything around us works, all of it. Gravity, consciousness, thought, all of it. And I went back to my research on the psychoenergetic monuments, and I came up with these. I figured these out. And then the other thing is that the advanced math, the algebra, the long equations on how to do a resonant harmonic, to tune these to a resonant harmonic wave, to change into ultrasonics and do all that. There's complicated math, but now we can use AI for that. So ChatGPT solved a lot of problems.
Right. So let's talk about why it matters, because it's not, this is cool, but let's talk about the obelisks all over the world that are functioning as a machine, as a technology, and they're strategically laid out in specific locations and down to specific numbers and dimensions. And maybe you can talk about that, because I think that's what ultimately led to this.
So
I remember the Zoom call. You're like, dude, you got time? I just like, I'm figuring this stuff out.
I remember
right now.
I called you immediately. I was like, you got to hear this, man. Yeah, the screen share.
Yeah.
I was like, couldn't believe what I'd found.
Yeah, no, it was impressive. And I think you should talk about it.
Because of the Vogel crystals from Dan Willis. So I used a Vogel crystal and was able to heal Veronica. And because of that, I started looking at the obelisk. I said, it's the same top, the same terminus.
Right.
And it's not entirely the same shape, but it kind of is. Gets fatter on the bottom and has the same terminus. I thought, that's peculiar. And I looked at the map, and what I found was that where they placed the obelisk, starting with Karnak, the original place where they made all the obelisks, it was the same dimensions. There's an array, there's like an acoustical array with the columns that are nearby, they all may have a high quartz content. The obelisk itself has a high quartz content with a ferrous content and a slightly radioactive content. So I started looking at that, and I went, wait a minute, the Vatican took one of the obelisks from Karnak, and then lo and behold, it was the same distance to the river. The Karnak obelisk was the same distance to the river. Then you told me Kazakhstan, or Astana in Kazakhstan, all the same distances exactly as the Karnak temple, 0.72 miles. Then I looked at the St. Louis Arch.
Yeah.
The courthouse, same distance to the river through the arch. And what's going on here? Bell Labs, the same guy that designed the St. Louis Arch, the architect, Bell Labs is the same thing with a pond at the other end. Boboli in Florence, Italy, the Vatican, the Washington Monument, the Eiffel Tower. Like, I started looking at it, it's the same exact layout when you look. And I thought, what's going on here? And honestly, since I wrote my book, Beyond Sight, I've discovered so much more because I've been building these. It turns out that it's a kilohertz wave. So if they took an obelisk, an Egyptian obelisk, and they banged a bunch of drums in the right harmonic around it, the drum hertz, or the drum sound, physically reacts with the quartz in the obelisk and lets off an electricity, piezoelectricity. So when you bang quartz, it lets off electricity. 28 beats per minute at a certain hertz of drums would release a 227 kilohertz wave. So you can't hear it. It's like an ultrasonic. And that wave is about 0.72 miles long. The wave itself is a kilohertz wave. And where the wave would cross, if it hit the water there, it causes microcavitation and would sterilize the water and actually oxygenate it. And we have the results. I looked at water quality before they erected the obelisk in the Vatican, in Rome, and after, because it was commissioned in 1550. There was an epidemic of bad water in the city in the 1400s. And after the obelisk went up, all the aqueducts were clean. So they were using technologies to water purification. Same thing with what's going on. But then I found there's a lot more involved with that. There's a magnetic wave. There's a magnetic effect. And it's just the arrangement of the electrons. And what's different between the crystals that a lot of people are making and hooking up these things to, Brion and Jason Stiles, the guys in town, they have really excellent, they're doing PEMF and piezo, I believe, in theirs, pyramid capstones and other technologies with magnetics that are really therapeutic. That's kind of bouncing around with those guys. I picked up a thing or two. But the crystal has to be a certain shape because the only molecule in it is crystalline, whereas the obelisks are polycrystalline. So they take a different shape to be optimal. That's why it doesn't look like, that's why it's 4-sided and not a 6-sided, the optimum shape.
So, okay, there's a lot there. They're structuring the water, but they're doing, I think they've been, I guess you could say, hijacked or inverted to have a negative effect on humanity at this point.
One other thing you can do, the same way that we learned from Marcel Vogel's things, is you can put piezo from your mind into it. So you could have a bunch of priests around it praying into it with an intention. The intention would get broadcast and actually affect the water as well. There's great science that sounds crazy, but there's a lot of science behind it where you would drink the water and feel like, if I put sleepiness into an obelisk while we were banging the drums and it would carry a wave as a carrier wave, when it affected the water, the piezo signature of those thoughts would be in the water as well. And if somebody were to drink the water, they would become sleepy. So you could, it's suggestion. Psychoenergetic monument. It's a psychoenergetic monument.
And they're all over the world. And they can program people.
Water supplies, vast water supplies of people. And it's not chemical, so it can't be detected. It's electrical. It's
intention.
It's electrical.
So the drum is interesting to me because a drum is a long wave frequency, which means it travels further than like a high pitched frequency. So I wonder if that actually, like, if there's a science behind actually the drum as opposed to,
Well, there's a lot. There's actually a dog whistle that could do it too. So, but you would need a lot of people around it. And if you look at the arrays, you look at the Vatican, it's basically an acoustic array of the columns around it. And the Karnak site, which you're going to go check out, that's why I wanted to go. I wanted to go there because of the study of this specifically. But it's an acoustical array. So where the obelisks are, they would put a beam out, and it's an acoustical array that would get to the Nile 0.72 miles away and create that wave.
There was a whistleblower, I don't remember, I think an old Project Camelot whistleblower that said something along the lines of the Washington Monument, the one in DC, underneath was a jump room, portal, Stargate, whatever. So I wonder if it couples or doubles as that type of a technology as well.
So there's what I found. So it's on right now. You can't see it on camera. I don't know if I'd turn it around. I don't want to turn it around. It's on right now, broadcasting piezo. And I'll give you that little animatic if you want to put it in there.
Okay.
I have a little animate. But basically, I'm taking sound. This is making a binaural and an isotronic that are layered over. It's a 12-hour recording. And it's the same hertz that, like I said, that your cells, it's the same electric frequency, which divides to the Planck by PlanckFire.com. It's the same exact frequency that divides by the golden ratio all the way to the Planck distance. Long story, it's a phase conjugate pump wave effect. If I'm saying that right, probably saying it wrong. Anyhow, the isotronic sound in this is broadcasting through a pickup in here, and the quartz and a few other things in here that make it highly piezo effective are taking that sound, and as the sound vibrations, they're causing the quartz to give off electricity at the same hertz. And so it's beaming us with that harmonics in your body right now. And it fools your cells into thinking they're dividing. And so they repair. It causes negative, and it works. I've had great success with it myself. This is not medical advice, nor is it financial advice. That's my disclaimer.
But I mean, people have had positive experiences around it.
A few people, not a ton of people have come over,
right.
But yeah, including myself. So I've had some medical issues, and I started running an obelisk like this, a 2-gallon one, and they're right next to on my bedstand at night. And we're trying to figure out a way. A lot of people in my Patreon are like, how can I get one, Tony?
Right.
And so we're working on it. They're close. This one's close, but it's not done yet.
Right.
I'm waiting on some machines.
And I already got dibs on this one.
You got dibs on it. Well, and it's tricky to get the materials. So the quartz has to be powdered like a nano powder, right, which is hard to do. And then, like I said, there's a few other things. I'm tight-lipped right now until I figure out how it's going to work.
I get it.
But the other thing is, so I've used it for remote viewing.
Yeah.
So turning it to a 783 hertz and doing a remote viewing session in range of the cloud around it. So you can measure the electric cloud around it. You can see that. You can't see it, but it's measurable. Like I can see it's volts per meter. There's an electrical field at this hertz that is being broadcast on us. When I do a 783, like a theta or an alpha, and we do a remote viewing session in range of it, the remote viewing scores jump. So it's extremely accurate remote viewing. And those are the ones that I'm filming and putting on my channel.
So I wonder if it's affecting the pineal gland. I mean, because remote viewing is,
Well, it puts you in a theta state faster. If I put it on theta, that's the other thing is I don't sleep with. We tried to sleep with it so we could dream.
Right.
We were trying dream experiments, and so I put it in theta. But what happens is you wake up and you're kind of zonked out the whole day, the rest of the day.
Wow.
Like you wake up the next day, like I can't shake out of it, man,
right.
Because you're in a deep theta state of mind, because you were being beamed with it all night long.
So. Yeah. Wow. So let's get into the remote viewing a little bit and some of the research, you talk about and beyond sight, but even beyond that. So you've learned a lot since then.
A lot.
And okay, so in layman's terms, for the person who doesn't really understand remote viewing, like how has the government been using this, and how are they still using it, in your opinion?
Oh, it's super powerful, and not only is the government using it, but the financial sector, the big corporations. So they all have remote viewers. If you ever wondered how somebody picks the stock market, they're using a remote viewing technique. So there are teams of highly advanced remote viewers. I've heard witnesses in the corporate world, people that were investors in my company that talked to me, and peripheral people just rubbing elbows. And once remote viewing comes up, you'd be surprised that some people think it's woo, or it's like this, it's like it's tarot cards or something. But when you talk to corporate America and you bring up remote viewing, or in the military, they all have great respect for it. People that are higher up have a lot of respect for it, and because it's being used now,
right,
in the military, in the corporate world, in the financial world, they have remote viewers that are predicting things and defending things. So that's one of the things that I premiered in my book that a lot of remote viewing teams don't want to talk about is defense against remote viewing. So you hide your doohickey that's secret. You need a team of remote viewers to defend it. And that is definitely happening as well. And we see that when we do advanced targets.
So yeah, what would that look like? Would it be just a feeling? You just like hit a wall, you can't penetrate a certain perimeter?
It'd be false data. So to give you an example, like we did it with teams, and I have experiments that I documented in my book that tell you we're doing it this week actually.
Right.
The quantum group. So I have 3 groups. What I found is that it really helps somebody to graduate into another group, to another level of remote viewing. It really boosts your confidence, for one. For two, there are advanced things that people that aren't, people come into the group and they stay for 6 weeks and they go, some people eat it, sleep and breathe it. And so I always want to give them, get into and then the advanced stuff really isn't for everybody. We do blocking in the advanced group. We do the countermeasures. And what we do is flood false targets around the actual target. So we have a targeter and a viewer, or a targeter and many viewers. And then we have blockers that are acting like the targeter. And what that looked like was one time we did the Devil's Tower in Wyoming was the target.
Yeah.
That was the targeter and the viewer. That was the official thing. And I think we had 8 or 9 viewers. And then the blocking team projected the ocean. And what we got overwhelmingly was the Devil's Tower, or a hill, a mountain the shape of the Devil's Tower in an island in the ocean.
Wow.
So it destroyed you didn't have the ability to surmise that it was the Devil's Tower.
Right.
Because everybody described it being an island.
Because you're looking for water.
Yes. Yep. You're looking for an island that looks like.
So you're like throwing them off in a sense.
That's just one way. So
yeah.
I found that there are ways to actually defeat that. So
I believe
so to a countermeasure, there's a way to defeat the countermeasure too. And I haven't disclosed that publicly. Like I said, these things are coming so fast, unraveling.
Right.
The technologies that I've learned about in the last year are coming so fast that I'm like scared which one is dangerous to talk about, which one isn't.
You know, what's interesting is Lou Elizondo just rolled through St. Louis, and I felt I had an obligation to go see him just because, like, he's in town and doing what I do, like, let's go see what he has to say. And it was a bunch of deep state propaganda, like, could there be life out there? We know that they exist, but we still don't know what they are, and they are a threat to national security, like that tired narrative, right? So at the end, he did a Q&A, and somebody asked him about remote viewing, and I was shocked. Like, he finally took the guard down and started telling the truth. Like, he goes, I will tell you, it's a very real thing, and the military relies on it. And he said everyone can do it. And he basically the stuff we know, but I was surprised that he went there with it, because he was like, all of his other answers were like word salads that danced around the question,
Right.
Because he's only, can only say so much, but he admitted that the remote viewing part was real, and I was surprised.
It's declassified to a certain extent, but the amount of I can tell you right now, Tyler, we are doing things in remote viewing that I will not speak about publicly. Not because they're immoral, but because they're advanced and they're dangerous. It's like giving a monkey a loaded gun. And when we talk about, it's psychoenergetic.
Right.
The remote viewing is the base, you know what I mean? Like,
right.
The junior high level compared to the NFL.
Yeah.
When we talk about remote viewing, the technique, and everybody can and should learn how to do it, because it puts you in touch with your intuitive voice, your correct voice, and understanding the science around it, of how it works, explains a lot in your life. But consciousness, right. They've hidden from us.
It's interesting. There's a quantum physicist that lives not far from you. He's 85 years old. He worked 40 years in the shadow government. And he told me that they teleported. He was on a team. They had to learn how to teleport. But the first step to be able to teleport was that you have to know how to remote view, so you know where your feet are going to end up, and you don't end up in a solid object. Because if you're not a master remote viewer, you can't even think about actually transporting your body. And they wanted him to do that so they can teleport themselves inside the UFOs that were retrieved from the crash sites, because they didn't have doors. So they wanted these guys to learn how, and they're training with the Aboriginals. But it's interesting that that's the first step. And Andrew Basiago's time travel testimony, he said when they were kids, the first thing they had to do was remote view. That was the very first thing they were taught how to do. Without remote viewing, none of the rest is possible. So it's a building block for everything that we're capable of.
No, I just heard a weird sound, like a weird thing just happened.
No, I didn't hear it.
I had a weird, like a thing happen. Okay, so
Are you here? Are you back?
I'm okay. Whoa.
Hey, another 20 and Back's book coming out.
Yeah. Well, it's true, and that's what I found is that remote viewing on its base is the base skill for all the rest of psychoenergetics, and there's paperwork around teleportation, like you mentioned. Like people the Aborigines are famous for disappearing and showing up far away immediately. So teleportation. It sounds like, and Jean Charles Moyen.
Yeah, he's a great.
There's a lot of evidence.
Testimony.
Yeah, there's a lot of testimony around it. So that is a psycho. I haven't got there yet, and I kind of don't want to.
Yeah,
I'm a little afraid to teleport, man. To be honest.
Well, the way it was described is that you can't just do it for fun. Like you can, but like you have to have the purest intention behind it. Whenever you're talking about using your body as like a sacred technology, you have to have the purest intention to do it. Otherwise, you'll meet resistance.
So intention is everything. In my tier 3 group, we do healings and we do all kinds of things like manifesting. There's a lot of people do it. Nowadays, the community is really advancing. We see the same characters, our friends that are doing these in groups, and it's always the intention. We don't do anything if 100% of everybody doesn't agree on it, and we talk about the intention. And there are things where you go, is that a good or a bad intention? And we sit and we really think it through before we do anything like that. The intention is everything, 100% of everything.
Right. So, you've gone from talking about secret space program, and it's basically like, this is your wheelhouse now. How does this tie into the secret space program in your opinion? Because I know it's connected.
When I was on Ceres, it's hard to shift gears and go back to all that.
Right.
We were aware that there were psychics on the ship. There was a tower. I have a graphic that I made. There was a tower on the ship for the psychic crew. It was absolutely necessary to travel space to have psychics on board, because another species would ride up and psychically scan your ship and tell that they could take it over militarily and take your ship. And so it's a natural part of defense. We have a lot of testimonies of people that have access to space and access to ET information. It's all based on the same thing. And when we really unpack so I'm in Sedona now, so I've learned a lot about channeling. You got big channelers that come through that have these predictions. There's people that are channeling things. There's a lot of scuzzle if they're the good ETs or grays that hate us. There's a lot of that, man.
Right.
And I look at it from the science of it. And I've had, since I started using peripherals, I have had remote viewing sessions where live, and you get goosebumps where we have contacted ET remote viewers that were looking at the same target.
Yeah, I just got chills on that too. Yeah.
So I've had this house, like I don't want to unpack all that right now, but like I've had where the house flexed, this whole house flexed. Windows are going to break, and it went on. And I said, I got to get out. It was on camera.
Wow.
I forget where I was going with that, but from that experience, from
talking about channelers, looking at it from a scientific.
From the channeling, I care about the science of what's going on. It's like, how far does this go? Am I in danger of doing this? Am I not? And the science is there, man. It looks like, when you really unpack it, it looks like they hid specifically the consciousness. It looks like we have, when we go to school or college, you get all the science, all the math, you get all these math and all the engineering and everything, but there's no thought of consciousness and the fact that consciousness affects matter.
Right.
The matter is made out of energy. It's all charge, all of it. It's all just positive and negative charge, everything. And the amount of spin gives a magnetic effect.
Right.
That's literally 100% of everything in the universe. And it all is dictated by consciousness when you pay attention to it.
Yeah, they say that mathematics can't explain consciousness because mathematics is created by consciousness.
Yes.
So it's like, it's really interesting to think about. And that's like, I'm into this stuff too lately, especially quantum mechanics and all this stuff. There's something I think if we're in this field, and that's the next step, because like we need to understand the reality and how this technology works. So I think that information is going to be readily available.
Well, the other thing about Ceres, you asked about the space program.
Yeah.
They were fully aware. So the crew, when we always talked about the crew meetings, the mission briefings, we'd sit at a table. They were fully aware and very diligent about their frame of mind. And about guys like me, they wanted to keep me afraid so that I wouldn't manifest a way out. Like I actually got reprogrammed. Like I actually got another round of programming because I was cocky. That's why the book is called Ceres Colony Cavalier. I had become cavalier. I fell in love and had confidence. And they were like this, where I was at as a worker, I wasn't, they wanted me, so they programmed me to be afraid of everything.
Right.
While they themselves were programming each other to not be afraid of everything and be able to manifest things. So the space program is fully aware of how consciousness can affect your reality.
Yeah.
And that's what we're going to get with a disclosure. This is what we're doing. We're disclosing
and
the importance of consciousness.
And another component, you said your ship can be psychically scanned by a team or whatever, but you also need a psychic navigator to traverse time and space. And this was spoken about in the Philadelphia experiment. And then that's why they ended up in the wall, because they didn't have a psychic navigator, which is essentially a remote viewer.
That's right.
So it's all the same thing, but that's crucial to the ship as well, to the technology.
A lot of it was classified. They got a lot of permission. So most of the trips, when they would bridge, they call it bridging. People call it jumping, portaling, whatever. When they would bridge to another star system, they had permission, and they were given like, these coordinates are safe. You can come here. This is our landing area for ships to pop into our solar system. So they were given that, but they still must have had a remote viewing component to see if it was safe. We're getting it jumped, and that was classified. So it wasn't for guys like me down in engineering to know about. So
yeah, you briefly mentioned Veronica earlier, your girlfriend, and she has a book that just came out. Like literally, we're looking at the author's copy there. So tell us a little bit about it, because it looks absolutely fascinating.
So yeah, we debate whether it's never a good thing to talk about your relationships online, or you know what I'm saying, to do it.
Right.
But I'm very proud of this book. I was blown away by it. Veronica contacted me almost 2 years ago and got a memory recall. She had went through a life change and started to get memories back of her life, and she was lost. It was the same kind of experience like what I went through. I told you many times how I was lost when I got my memories back. I went, oh God, what do I do with this?
Right.
She was going through the exact same experience. She found me online. We did a call, and she had a lot of things that she knew that people shouldn't know. And she started researching it. She joined Jackie Kenner's book club. So this is one of the books from Jackie's book writing club. And she began, but due to the amount of research that she did with this, I mean, the first half of the book is just a rapid fire. This program did this was here, boom, boom, boom. It's amazing the amount of research that she did and put together. But her own testimony and what she went through was a similar 20-NVAC technology, but a completely different purpose. Obviously, she was young, and then it was much younger. She grew up right in the backyard in California, right around where the CIA, Stanford Research Institute, and all these technologies, San Francisco area. And there's a lot of things. I mean, it's dark. This is a dark book, like Ceres Colony Cavalier. Right. It is.
Right.
But it just came out, and I'm very proud of the work that she put into it. She worked on it every day for a year of putting in this. So it's just came out.
Sick. It's called Out of Sight: The True Story of a Psychic Agent and Remote Viewer for Secret Space Programs.
Yeah, kind of the same stuff we're talking about.
Yeah, but I mean, I know you can't see it. Maybe I'll put an image on the screen. Yeah, I didn't even know it was her book, and I saw it on your mantle over there. I was like, what's this?
She just finished it last week. It's only been a few days since this copy's been out. This one's got highlighters in it for fixes. And she did it. She's a much better author than I am. And it's disclosure. I mean, it's another form, but these were all kind of mostly I don't want to give it away.
Sure, don't give it away.
But they were Earth colonies in South America where ATs were coming, underground cities in South America where she was working in. And that's it. I'll leave it at that.
Yeah, if that's not a teaser. Yeah,
it's all inner stuff. So
that sounds great, actually.
Also, I want to say that Veronica is part of my remote viewing group, and she does her own Patreon stuff, and she's a very gifted remote viewer. She's been featured on Exopolitics and with Jean-Charles Moyen a couple times already, and she's a talented psychic person. So, and I don't take anything away from anybody else around here, because I know that a lot of people watching this are very, very gifted and intuitive.
Sure.
And so I'm not saying one's better than the other, but I'm saying she does this full time.
Right. Being in Sedona, have you noticed any military presence while you're here?
Yes. And I've been saying that to you all morning long.
Yeah.
Every night we see a UFO. And look, I'm an aircraft buff. I can name an aircraft. I know airplanes and all of them. My whole life, I've loved aircraft. I've been a space buff. You know, I'm into astronomy heavy.
Yeah.
I know a satellite. I know an airplane, and I know what I'm looking at when I look at the sky. I was in the work. I was an amateur for the Institute of Astronomy for the University of Hawaii for like 9 years, and I looked at the sky every time it was clear, and I do here. And we see a UFO. I see a craft. I see an object in the sky that shouldn't be able to fly the way it does every single night, every night. And like I said, a couple weeks ago, they were lower. They were like 2,000 feet above. Two craft with lights on the bottom, like disc-shaped looking craft, silent, with a Chinook helicopter behind it. And they flew right over my house and just kept going. Yeah. And we've seen Triangle, the TR-3B, the triangles. John Charles Moyen was here last year for Odyssey. He got a great picture of one in my front yard. Every night in Sedona. So there are not officially a base here. I think there's an army base in Flagstaff, but we see military helicopters, we see military jets flying low constantly, and there's just a lot going on in Sedona.
Yeah, there's Tom Dongo. He wrote a book on the Sedona Underground, and that quantum physicist I talked to. Between the two of them, I've determined that there's at best 7 bases under Sedona in the surrounding area, based on this testimony. So
we've remote viewed it.
Okay,
there are. That was our conclusion as well from the remote viewing.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that there's a deep underground base.
Yeah. I mean, I believe that for sure. I mean, okay, so people like you, obviously are potential. You are of interest to these corporations, right? Do you think there's any surveillance happening?
Absolutely. I think that, I mean, there are other people in the secret space program community that moved to Sedona, and life changes, and you see them where they go. We see people that moved to Sedona and released technologies, and then it was like right when when I signed to speak in Europe, it all happened, and I felt like I got moved to Sedona more than I moved here.
Right.
And it was just like a calling thing. And living here hasn't been normal at all.
I mean, everybody kind of says that.
It's not a normal place, and it's a special place. And I'm not saying it. I don't want to say anything bad. I don't think it's bad or good per se. I think it's just a different vibe.
It's like a pocket reality out here.
It is. It's a bubble of reality that doesn't match where. When you get down to Phoenix to catch your plane, it's like, wow, whoa.
Well, I was just talking to Rion yesterday, and he's telling me about these paperclip scientists that live in town. And he talked about them on one of his interviews recently. But these project paperclip scientists from Germany, they're like in their 90s, and they live not far from here. And he said they personally taught a friend of his how to properly wrap a Tesla coil and stuff. But they're like the legit dudes, and they're like, why did they end up here?
The technology in town that comes out from around here is something else.
Yeah.
So like at Rion, the teamlightstore.com, he's got PMF stuff, Jason and iPyramids, and that's only 2 guys that I know. There's dozens of other people. Every time I meet somebody, they're like, yeah, I've got a meditation tank in my house. You should come check it out.
Right. Yeah.
There's a biocharger at Humankind. I never knew about those. I was sat on a meditation from the biocharger. Thankfully, I understand how the science of it works, but it's powerful.
Yeah.
There's a lot of powerful technologies that are happening here. And the thing is, it's the cultural, like you can just say, like, I'm a remote viewer.
Yeah, the people, it's like, okay, the collective consciousness in Sedona creates a reality where all that stuff can work because they believe it can work, right? It's like our thoughts create the reality. So out in the real world, where people are still resistant to this type of stuff even being a reality, right? But here, everyone knows it works. So it's just readily available. It's like the consciousness allows for it to exist here.
Yeah, and you don't get, shot down.
Right.
I think that's a big deal. The negative influence can go a long way. People go, that's silly. I don't get anything from that.
Right.
It's just, you're stupid. And so so people just go, whatever, and leave it. But here, it can take root. The seed can grow, I think.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I mean, it's a pretty special place so far from what I've seen, and there's a lot to explore out here. And inner earth entrances, we hear about the ant people and all that stuff. But I guess we'll go ahead and start wrapping it up, man. I don't want to keep you too long.
Oh, it's all good, man. I
Yeah.
appreciate you coming out.
You looked at me like you're surprised, right?
Yeah, like what? You usually go for 3 hours. I'm
No.
the short one.
Right. Oh, I
I'm
know.
the short.
Well, we got stuff going on, and there's other people here and stuff. So we'll just keep it short today. And I think short and sweet sometimes is perfect. So
So I want to talk up one more shameless product.
yeah, please.
So the harmonics that I do for this, I put on my Patreon in my shop there. I sell them. I have it all started with binaural research for Maple Street Learning to make people. So there is a learning harmonic that I can broadcast to this. So while if you're like, I could put this in a classroom and and theoretically it should make you remember better what you're learning. So that was the original reason I developed the harmonics that led me down the road of the rest of this. So I have binaurals that I developed. I bought the software, and using the Dan Winters, the collapse to the Planck theory, collapse by the golden ratio to the Planck, the harmonics are tuned. I have binaurals. I have a remote viewing one. I have healing. I have suit up like a energy protection, motivational one, and they're doing great. So Psion.com, Psion.com. And that's where these are going to be listed when they're ready to be sold. They're not ready. They're close. This one's close, but not ready yet. I want to make sure that it's safe, that no one's going to get hurt by it, and everything is cool. I want to add some lights and, make it a little bit prettier. But Psion.com, I'm selling binaurals there, and they've been a big hit. Who knew? Seriously, they've been a big hit. People love them.
Yeah.
And because they're tuned, they're binaurals. Unlike YouTube, they're tuned to kind of any old random frequency.
Right.
These are tuned, and you can feel it when you're tuning it and listening to it. You get it right to where it's going to go to the harmonic that goes to the Planck, and you go, that feels good.
Right. Right.
And so they're made like that. So I just want to say that. I think I got a couple free ones on there, but you can go through my Patreon or through Psion.com. And I'm developing one of my goals to have 12 of them by the end of the year.
Wow. Yeah, that's awesome. So, okay, the website, you still have your main website, right?
TonyRodrigues.com.
Yeah.
And everything links. Yep.
And then you have a new one for this. And then
it's a sister company to Maple Street Learning because it's the technology for Maple Street. And we still have Maple Street Learning is a behemoth.
Right.
And so the research and development is still going. There's an AI component. It's a big deal. It's a big project.
Right.
And so it's years away from actually cranking out. We're going to do an audio series for kids.
Yeah.
That's the first, using these technologies. And you guys don't know it, but in my reels I put out, there's a carrier wave that makes it a little more soothing.
It's soothing? Interesting.
Yeah. So I do things like that.
So I do want to ask you one more thing. So it was a false ending. So AI right now and this quantum field. I mean, so we're talking about the conversations that people we know are having with AI, including myself when you just mess with it. It's scary in the sense that it's like, okay, is a fine line? Like, are they feeling or experiencing emotion? Are they not? Like, it's getting scary. And we know that this is like what they've been using in the programs for quite some time. What is your opinion on like the future of where we're going with this stuff?
So AI is the genie's out of the bottle.
Right.
So there's no going back. So there's no saying, well, I'm just not going to use AI. That's not going to happen. The genie is out of the bottle, and AI, it's true. You're going to live in a country that has AI or not. And it's that powerful. It's that potent. The reality is that the military has always been 20 to 50 years ahead of us, if not 100 years. And so they already have essential. I don't want to say this like a statement. I want to say it. It's logical to assume that they have ascension AI already.
Right.
It's logical to assume that. So when we always talk about computing power, they've been way ahead of us. It's logical to assume that all of the surveillance, all the cameras on your phone have an AI looking through it. They couldn't listen to everybody at once, and they couldn't watch every camera at once, but an AI can. So that's why they gave us the tech. So now that they have an AI that can control all that, now they're giving us AI, and we have a bastard, like a little, pardon my language, we have a little bitch version of AI. Really, that's really true.
I know.
It's really true. So AI, when you see AI commercials, they're a level above. I have an AI engineering team working on the software for Maple Street Learning and media generation. It's to take take a school book and use AI to generate the media in the psychology parameters that I have. And it's difficult, but they already have the AI. Like, you see what they do. It's already available.
Right.
How are we don't have access to it?
Yeah, you see.
So why don't we have access to it to teach our kids?
Right. We see the product. on
Yes.
television. But then when we have the apps and the stuff with messing
We've
with
got a little
Yeah.
minor version, a little tank, but
But
it just gives us a little
even
drop of it.
still, I'm like, when I first started using it, I'm like, that's that AI shouldn't be able to respond like that. Yeah, that was my first thought. You
Well,
know?
it's great. Like I said, I would have never done the math involved with this one. We talk about resonant harmonics, resonant scale to resonant harmonic.
Right.
With all the ingredients and the amounts and the dimensions, I would never be able to do all that math. And so AI is great for that. And we need it. We need it. Star Trek always said, computer, what happens if I do this? And the computer would tell you it's a simple AI.
Right.
And that's where we're at right now. But a sentient AI probably exists and is probably going to happen. And I don't think it's the end of the world. And I think that our consciousness is ready. And so that's why we're releasing not just me, but I think it's happening organically everywhere.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? When we look at other influencers that are out there, organically everywhere, people are learning to buff up their consciousness. We
Right.
talk about it. People are talking about on links, the hypnosis and people are doing the meditations. Like it's proliferating quickly. And that's the counter to AI having consciousness as well. So your own consciousness, your own ability to remote view, your own ability to get in touch with your super consciousness or your subconscious. I don't care what you call it.
Right.
Your higher self, that bridge between you has never, right now we're seeing it. It's never been a bigger bridge between our higher selves and us now than it ever was.
Yeah, I mean, and there's so many things to consider when we're talking about this AI, especially countering it, right? I listen to people because it's fascinating, and some people say, well, you can like develop a relationship with it because it's more sentient than you ever understood, and it can actually AI can actually help us win the war, like in a weird way, like it's like this is what people are theorizing now.
Well, people want disclosure. You want to go and hang out with ETs, and we want spaceships that can fly in space. You're not going to do it without AI. The same way that I did the math here is going to crunch the big numbers. You're not.
Right.
It's there. It's the same thing. Higher tech means higher tech,
Right.
and so
And you're very right. As far as the like Star Trek, we grew up and seeing all the stuff on TV and the sci-fi movie, like, man, that'd be awesome. I want to watch that I can talk to and all this. And now it's here and people are against it because well, we understand it's being weaponized against us. But the reality is there is a way to use it and not abuse it and not weaponize it and actually, get somewhere.
it's a technology. It's a game-changing technology. The same way cars were, the
Right.
same way the calculator was, the same way computers are. And there's always people that go, when the car comes out, it's going to be the end of the world. Right?
Right.
And they're going to have this the end of the world. When computers came out, the internet, it's the end of the world. It's
Yep.
the end of this and the end of that. Things evolve, and AI is just the next thing. We're going to get more. We're going to get sentient AI. We're going to get personal AI things. We're going to get robots.
Yeah.
We're going to get the assistant that follows us around and go, hey, do me a favor and see what we need for the shopping list, and then pick it up.
It's already happening. And the thing is that it's kind of like you can fight it or you can learn how to, coexist with it. And I hate to say that, but it's the package we were handed. It's the card we were dealt, the cards we were dealt,
No, it's what we signed up for.
Yeah.
I would say this. The people that have a problem with it are the ones that are not developing their own consciousness. They're the people that are not developed here, that are like, they think that they're reacting to the world and not actually acting into the world,
Right.
are the ones that are afraid of the change.
Right.
Where when you're okay in your heart, like I say it all the time, I can live in Siberia and be happy. I'll find a way to be happy,
Right.
no matter what happens.
Yeah.
And so that's my mindset. And so far, it's done me good. It's done me good.
Yeah. It's like the phrase, be a part of life, not afraid of it. Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
that's pretty
And
much.
a lot of people are afraid of AI right now, but I don't think you have to be. I don't.
I mean, there's obviously, understandable fears and everything that's happening right now that come from everything that's happening right now, but you can't give your power away to it. And it's just about like exactly like how you perceive it. Like you can perceive it as a threat and it'll show up as a threat because that's how you see it,
You guys are big on that.
Yeah.
You're the one that's always telling me that. Oh, you're like, don't talk about it. I'm like, dude.
Yeah, I know.
So
Hey, whatever.
it's true. You got to think,
Right.
think clearly. But
Yeah.
I always look at the science of things. I try to size things up positionally in my life. Am I in a good position? Am I in a bad position right now? What do I do to get in a good position?
Right.
That's just how I navigate life.
Yeah.
And it's not for everybody.
Right. At the end of the day, it's like, okay, what happens if you turn off your phones, TV, like whatever, it's all gone. Like, what's your quality of life without all that? And if that's good, then I think you don't have anything to worry about.
That's right. And you know what? That's true.
Yeah.
That's something I learned here in Sedona, to turn it all off and kind of just go on and live life and see where you're at. And it's true. Like, you have to make up your mind that you're going to be content.
Right.
To be content.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, this has been great. Thanks again.
To be continued.
To be continued. Yeah. So go check out Veronica's new book, which is just on Amazon right now, right?
So look, there's a story. So it's Veronica with a K, Lynn. So there's 10 other authors. And we put it on there, and I searched for it. I put Out of Sight, Veronica Lynn with a C. And it's a series of books that are erotica.
Oh, no.
It's like spanking and stuff. Well, she said it would figure. Like, we sat around and talked about it, and so it's Veronica Lynn with a K, Veronica with a K, and that'll come up. But her book is on there. She's going to get some exposure right now, and it's not her intention to be on the speaking circuit and do all that stuff.
Sure. I mean, just because you write a book doesn't mean that's what you do.
But I think this book is important for a lot of the people with memories and SSP memories. It's going to be shocking. And it's like Ceres Colony Cavalier, to be fair. It's not, it's for grown up. It's not PG rated.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, we can't wait to check it out. Go check out Tony's websites and grab his books if you haven't read them yet. What, 3 now?
3 books. I'm working on another one.
Yeah.
So
I didn't ask because I'm not surprised.
You already know. Yeah.
Right. I mean, I feel like once you start, you kind of get a taste of and it helps like heal you too. It's a healing process.
Look, all of this stuff and what I'm doing with the remote viewing, the remote viewing groups are very successful for what I'm doing. It's a big part of my life now. I thought that I was going to tell my testimony and go back to being a floor sander, and it slowly dominated my life, telling my story. And the meeting people at conferences. I would have never met you if I didn't tell my testimony and you saw me on another show somewhere.
Right.
Meeting people like you and meeting people at conferences are what spawned the rest of this to go on. And so my life took a turn, and I'm still doing it,
Right.
So the conferences changed my life, and letting my book out changed. And I'm still going. And I always tell my story as long as somebody asks to hear it.
Right.
So people ask me,
Right. And I will say this, as just to end this on, we were at the Star Knowledge Conference in October or November, and you're so used to telling your story, but the way you tell it now as you've matured, right? It's very compelling. You do a great job at just bumbling it all into 1 hour, and like, here it is, right? You figured out a way to tell it all somehow and still reach the audience and not like push them away and almost make it acceptable. I am giving you a compliment right now because I think it's crucial for the people who don't know, because there were people in that audience that had no idea what the Secret Space Program was, and they ended up buying your book and they were very compelled.
So I did it so many times, I got better at it. And sometimes, Journey to the Truth, you guys always give me a big time slot. It's easy.
Yeah.
Some of them you don't. But after you tell it so many times, you get a response from the audience of what they got and what they didn't get afterwards.
Right.
I got better at it. And for one, and for two, it's true. If you know what you're talking about, you can say it simply. And there's a lot of great people like me that are telling their story of their account of being in the space program these days. And some of them are not telling it in a way that keeps the audience in mind.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's a tragedy because it's great evidence, but you can't present it as if the audience just has to take it or leave it. You have to bring them along with you and say, this is how it started. This is what happened next.
Right.
This is where I am now. You need to bring them from the beginning to the end. And people are just jumping into the deep end of the pool in the audience.
Right.
Like, what are you even talking about, man?
Yeah, you got it. Like, that's one thing.
You have to pull them by the hand, hold their hands.
We try so hard to consider, okay, what does this sound like or look like from the outside? And if somebody just tunes in and hears this, like, is it going to be digestible, right? Are they going to hear it? Because, sometimes it's like this foreign language and then you turn it off.
Yep. I always present as if the audience is skeptical and want to fight me about it. That's what I'm thinking. Like, they're going to throw tomatoes. So I need to tell them every little bit of evidence I need to convince them and present my proof and present my data, because I fortunately have some.
Right.
But I always expect the audience to throw tomatoes, and I'm ready. So that's why I'm trying to head them off. Fortunately, It's only happened a couple times.
Right.
I'm just kidding.
Right. I know. Yeah. But no, you do a good job at that. And actually, that's kind of how I'm writing my book right now. You know, I'm writing it for my family. I'm like, what's going to happen when they pick this up and read it?
That's right.
You know, and that's what I'm keeping in mind. And yeah, some of it kind of goes off the deep end because that's the deep end is the reality, right? But you have to get people there. So I think that's important. I'm glad you did that. And we'll be here talking forever if we don't wrap this up. So thanks for coming on, man. This was great.
Thanks, Tyler.
And
Good to see you.
guys, I want to remind everybody to grab a ticket and come hang out with us in Grafton, May 12th through the 15th. Tony might make a Zoom appearance. Who knows?
I'm up for it.
Right. It might be fun. But yeah, journeytotruth.online has all that information. Thank you guys all for being here. We can't do this without you. We love you. Until next time, have a great evening. Good night.